Me at the kitchen table today. I'm assembling this basically a vintage parts guitar. This is a great 61 neck. It has the original frets. It looks like the headstock was oversprayed at some point, but I got this neck at a great deal. It's got a great shape to it, and it's got some crazy bird's eye, like I said. I got an old neck plate on here as well. I think it's like a 59 neck plate. Old bridge assembly. And some old slugs, some old pickups, but we got a new pick guard, and we got old covers, old knobs, and all that. I always talk about trying to find old parts, and I do collect them. I do put them away when I can find a deal because of a time like this. I have enough now. I had to buy this body, this Mjt Body. If you remember my last parts caster video, I used an Mjt Body. This one popped up actually locally to me. I was able to meet the guy and get it for a great price. It's a really cool nitro white finish. It's got great contours. It was already drilled for the pickguard style I needed. So, I mean, all that stuff really just kind of fell into place. Got that at a good deal. I had the neck. Obviously, I did purchase it, you know, at a time. So I put some old tuners on this thing. Put a string tree that I had. Still has the original frets. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of playing out of them. I had an old neck plate, this bridge assembly, and some pickups. Let me build a guitar that combines, you know, that tonal characteristic I'm looking for, along with the dependability of new age stuff, you know. These pickups test out great, but I put a set of Bourne's pots in there and a new three-way switch. So as far as electronics, we have a little bit of old, we have a little bit of new. The body, granted, it's not a vintage piece of wood. The only thing I can say about these Mjt bodies from my past experiences, they are cut to vintage spec. The routing is a little different to allow larger single coils or as much wire as you want to stuff in there. But great nitro, good dry wood, good cut body, lightweight. I think the body alone weighs 3 pounds, 10 ounces. Really great. And the vintage neck, I think there's a lot of tone and vibration coming through the neck. And we have, it's an old slab neck, you know, 61 slab neck. And those are just some tone essentials. Also, the trem block, you know, nice steel block. You want that too for that tone transfer to me. Some people may say it's BS, but I play with the bridge flat to the body. I adjust the bridge so I can bend fully and it'll still stay in tune. The low E doesn't pitch itself down. And I also like to use things like raw vintage. I like these Tremolo Springs for $21 on Amazon. This is where you kind of say, well, why have the vintage springs back there that have been worn out for all those years of being on a guitar? You put yourself a set of new raw vintage ones on here. They really increase the tremolo return. I do hear a resonance with them, and they just feel great. The whole guitar kind of comes alive and it sings a little bit. So I'll use these, and you know, I'll assemble this guitar. My friend James Oliver is an incredible rockabilly, rock and roll, and blues, chicken picking, all of that guitar player in the UK. We struck up a friendship a while ago because he's a big fan of vintage guitars and player grade, affordable vintage guitars. So James was nice enough to send a little clip of him jamming, also sitting down, popping down on the couch, and talking to us about some of his favorite guitars that he plays with. And again, he's a guy that plays, you know, 200 plus gigs a year, and his guitars have to be functioning fully. James is going to sit down and talk to us about his favorite guitars and give a little insight as to why he prefers the player grade vintage. So check it out from James.
rock and roll, rockabilly guitar player from South Wales. I also play a little bit of blues and country, and I have a passion for vintage player-grade instruments. Myself and Nick have been friends for a long time, and we chat regularly about gigging and playing and recording with these things. So Nick asked me would I make a little video for his channel, all the way from sunny South Wales, talking about all these guitars here behind me. They're all players grade vintage instruments. So first up is my 1961 Fender Stratocaster. Originally Fiesta Red, and it's still Fiesta Red. This is probably the best piece in my collection. It's all original bar 5-way switch. I personally like to put 5-way switches on all my vintage Strats because I like that in between sort of clanky sound. So that's the Strat. My 1963 Fender Telecaster. Again, this one is all original, including the dead sounding switch there, and it hasn't even been modded. So this is probably the best piece in the collection. And I said to Nick I'd show him a 70s Fender Strat, Telecaster rather. This is my 76 Telecaster Custom, which has been stripped back to natural wood, and the tuners have also been changed, which makes this a player's grade vintage instrument. Then probably the guitar that people see me the most playing. It's my 1961 Fender Stratocaster. Now this guitar is a refin, and when I got it, it was refinished in matte black, and it was a horrible finish, and I thought about refinishing it, but I started playing and it started wearing like that. So I thought, well, I might as well play it and keep it as it is. Again, this one is all original, pickups, tuners. Obviously, all the nuts have been changed on them all. This one I got a horrible brass nut, but that's going to be changed. But again, this has got a 5-way selector switch, and some of the screws have also been changed in the guitar. I just feel that to play a vintage instrument live, they need to be functioning properly. So if you like the sound of the in-between switch, change the switch, as long as you keep the parts. Again, the pots have been changed, but the pots are 60 years old, and when you're doing this night after night for 60 years, you know, it's bound to wear the guitars out. And I just feel that these vintage instruments, even though not perfect, and are around the same price as a good custom shop Strat. You buy a vintage, you get the old wood, the old pickups, and the old feel. And that's why I prefer vintage instruments to brand new ones. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you again.
There you go, there's the last screw. So big thanks to my buddy James who did that video. It just so happens that he has some player grade vintage guitars, and they just happen to be awesome. 261 Strats, a Tele. I mean, not only that, the guy's a phenomenal player, and you can clearly see how he's using these old guitars, whether it's swapping out a switch or changing a pot to make it fully functional. He's using them as tools in his toolbox for his job, you know. So my hat's off to James for out there slinging some vintage guitars while ripping it up. I'm going to put James's contact info down below, his Facebook, and, you know, all his socials so you can follow him. And also, I'll put a link to his YouTube channel that he just recently started. He does a great little Twang Tuesday. Really, really cool stuff. James is a great player, and I really have a lot of respect for him because he plays it right. He's a hard player, and he's gigging a lot, so my hat's off to him. So, we got this 61 parts caster built up. I'm going to get some strings on it, give you guys a little sound clip. Thanks for popping into another video. Just to go over this guitar again, we have a 61 neck. We have some old pickups, lashing pick guard, which is a really, really great vintage replica guard. Got an old bridge assembly, some old covers and knobs, an Mjt white body, nitro finish, an old neck plate, and some old tuners. And we got another guitar to have some fun with. So check it out. I appreciate you guys, and we'll talk really, really soon. Alright guys, don't judge. This is just really quick. I just put some strings on. I have an oddball set. I think it's like a 46, 38, 26, 16, 11, and 9. It's just what I had for singles. But here it is. We'll go with the neck pickup first. The middle pickup's really cool. It's got a... stretch the strings. And then the bridge pickup. And I'm just, I don't know if you can see it, but it's a the deluxe reverb. So that's it. And we got another parts caster. I didn't even adjust the whammy bar yet. Look at how light.